Hey, Paul, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Got you loud and clear, buddy. Loud and clear.
All right.
Good to have you here. We'll just give a few minutes here for people to be able to jump on the call, and I'm excited tonight. Trey.
I'm glad you are.
I hope everybody is. It's been a great weekend. The sun is shining again. It's
I'm getting a haircut tomorrow morning.
Oh, that a boy! I beat you to it.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, I got lucky and
I've been holding out.
Had a secret stash of a hairdresser that I can't divulge that helped me out. So, but I'm really excited. It's been a busy weekend. It's nice to see that things seem to be settling a little bit on the on the COVID front, on the pandemic. It seems to the patio is open here in Brantford. I know that Mississauga and around corporate office is still pretty tight as far as social distancing and patios and so on. I don't think they got there yet. We have moved ahead in Brantford here and have a number of patios open here. So it's nice to see people out and about. It seems to be busy again. It puts people in a little bit of a positive frame of mind for sure.
Absolutely.
So I want to welcome everybody to our Monday night Team Vaccination training call. I hope you're all well. I wish you all well. And we've had a busy week. We've had a lot of new people join and rank advancements. Wow. We've had some crazy rank advancements. So I just want to, before we get started, Paul, I just want to make mention of a few people that that have rank advanced. First of all, we have Kathy Gage from the East Coast, who was our first VP, our first woman VP in VoxxLife. So congratulations, Kathy Gage. You did a great job. She was in it right close to the beginning. She's got a very large team. She's a great leader, and I'm just so excited for Kathy Gage and her accomplishment of vice president, being the first woman vice president in VoxxLife. So congratulations, Kathy. If you're on the call or not on the call, it'll be on the recording. But also we have 3 other new women VPs that achieved that rank after Kathy Gage had moved to her rank. And we have Vicky Swan, Michelle Cran, and Sandra Dolan, all from out west area in Western Canada. So congratulations, ladies. Vice president rank is an incredible rank to get to in this company. It shows that you've had to serve, that you've had to stay with it. And as a company that's evolving and changing and trying to find the right way to do things, the one thing about our CEO, he wants to do right by everybody, but he certainly doesn't just jump into making changes right away. He analyzes and he takes a look and makes sure that if he's going to make a move, and I don't think he's done yet. I don't think he's done making positive moves for the field. He's done a great job at helping all of us during this pandemic. So also with that, what I know of, and I apologize if I miss anybody in a rank advancement. I don't mean to be mentioning just, VPs or directors. This is what I know so far. So new managing directors we have also that achieved this weekend, over the weekend, was Tanya Stoner, Shaylee Dolan, Teresa McCartney, Bonnie Andrews, and Debbie Bear. And congratulations, ladies. Great job getting into the position of managing director and upping yourselves into a bigger bonus pool as well. So hats off to those ladies that have achieved that rank of managing director. I mean, that's the goal. I think that's where we have sort of looked at the comp plan in the new associate handbook. If you go to pages 19, 20, and 21 in the new associate handbook, it's what Paul Austin and I built the book on, was based on achieving the rank of managing director and staying there and looking at what you can do when you get to that rank and you get other people at that rank purchasing $200 in personal volume that you can turn around and sell. So congratulations. But even furthermore, our trainer tonight, Mr. Paul Vandeven, also this weekend reached the rank of managing director. So bravo, Paul. Let's hear it for Paul. He reached the rank of managing director this weekend. And Paul's an incredible, incredible guy. Paul's been at this and stuck to it. And one thing that I can really honestly say about Paul, aside from being a great guy, is he's invested in himself. He believes in getting better. He's invested in training. He's a rank maker. He knows the importance of sticking with it. And you know, Paul grew up on a large hog and cash crop farm in Moseley, Ontario, and he obtained his farm business management diploma from Fanshawe College in London. He encountered knee problems in his teens and had cartilage removed from both of his knees when he was a young lad. Farming was not going to be his career choice because of the fact that his knees were bad. So he returned to school to pursue a vocation to the priesthood. He obtained his BA in philosophy and business in 1982. He obtained his Master's of Divinity in 1984, but had not proceeded in that vocation. He spent the last 40 years in numerous jobs, all really to do with the agriculture sector, and mainly in agriculture credit, insurance, and estate planning. In February 2015, his job of 10 years quit him. He didn't quit the job, it quit him. And they moved his position to the USA. So at 57 years old, he found himself out of a job. 2 years before his 28-and-a-half-year marriage ended up in divorce. He was an alcoholic in a very dark place. He'd lost everything, family, home, friends, and then planned a suicide attempt. Ended up in a jail cell, which was probably the wake-up call he needed. But what he did is he didn't give up. He found his purpose in helping others, particularly other alcoholics. Helping others be grateful for all they have and to appreciate people in their lives. Paul just celebrated 7 years of sobriety. Bravo.
Thanks.
He found Vox a little over 3 years ago. Well, actually, it actually found Paul. And after a year of doing nothing except wearing the tech for plantar fasciitis, he started to grow a business with a couple of associates, and he hasn't looked back. He looked at sharing and helping people is what our culture is, and he's blessed. He knows he's blessed to have a team underneath him of whom he does a very amazing job of serving. So without further ado, this is an incredible guy, and I'm absolutely delighted to have Paul Vandeven as our trainer for Team Voxxination tonight on his topic, the importance of a daily method of operation, the importance of consistency and follow-up. So without further ado, Paul, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the call tonight. Take it away.
Thanks, Terry. First of all, thank you for the introduction and all the nice things that have been said. I want to thank everybody that has sent messages through to me in the last couple of days, and I appreciate every single one of them. I've tried to respond to all of them individually. I'm sure I've missed some, and I'll probably catch up. But it means a lot to me. This team is like family, and makes a huge difference. Makes a huge difference to us. So, can I share the screen?
Yeah, you'll be able to share it, Paul.
Okay. All right. Let me go in here, and I gotta go find my. Hold on here. Okay, how do I find my, here we go. Should be able to find this. My tabs are open, but I don't know where they went.
Well, share your screen first.
Yeah, but I got it. Yeah, I'm trying to find, hold on here. I have to go up here, go to there. Now go back here. Can you see it?
No, you got to share screen first, pal.
Okay.
Go down to the bottom, click on share screen,
Yeah, that's okay.
and then it'll show your tabs.
Oh, here. Where have I lost it? Okay, hold on. Bear with me. Where did I'm trying to get back to, oh, here, let me go there. Okay, so now go share screen. I can't find my select a window or an application.
So when you share the screen, it'll be the first box that appears on your screen. There you go. Now you start.
Okay, so now I can maneuver around.
There
Oh,
you go, buddy.
all right.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Thanks. All right, I'll move this out of the way. Over to there. Okay. So thanks for inviting me to present tonight, Terry. And just so you all know, I wasn't given this topic because I'm so good at it or that I'm an expert. They say it takes 10,000 hours of studying and learning to become, an expert at anything. So to put that in perspective, that would mean that if you spent 5 hours every day, 365 days a year, doing what it takes to get to that level, it'll only take you about 5.5 years to become an expert. And then it's not over. Then you've got to stay in tune with all the changes that come with the times. So, does that mean we wait to start our business until we can, say that we're an expert? Well, let's just see what this fella says. I think you've probably all seen this before, but Richard Branson is noteworthy for saying if somebody offers you an amazing opportunity, but you are not sure you can do it, just say yes and then learn how to do it later. And that's definitely what kind of happened with me. I didn't know much about it, but I knew that I put the tech on, and it was I was starting to notice some benefits, particularly in my knees that sometimes are painful because there's no cartilage in them. I just, I figured I could learn as I went, and as I found, there was, some good team behind me to, to help me find my way through it. You don't have to get everything right all the time. You just have to put one foot in front of the other. I hope that I can give you all a few tips about things I have tried that didn't work. Important thing is, it wasn't the things I tried or did that didn't work. It's the things I didn't do that didn't work. Okay? Let's think about that again. It wasn't the things I tried or did that didn't work. It's the things I didn't do that didn't work. It's a very fine distinction, and it's consistency that matters. And one of the first things that we learned when I walked through the doors of Alcoholics Anonymous was that in order to make it through our recovery, we couldn't look too far to the past because it was pretty dismal. And we didn't want to look too far in the future because it was too scary. And I learned, over time, I learned the philosophy of living one day at a time. And one day at a time, anybody can do anything. Here's another favorite quote of mine. So what do? Mother Teresa is a really, I love her writings. And, she just says, just do ordinary things with extraordinary love. And that, that often will make the difference, when we're trying to move ahead. So what are some of the elements of a good DMO, a good daily method of operation? The first thing is, to have a routine that you pretty much follow every day. The second most important thing is to write it down. Write it down on a paper, put it on a schedule. It only becomes real when you see it on paper. So, see if I can do this. I want to show you an example of one of the things that I've come to use is Google Calendar. I can tell you that I have tried, one of my downfalls was I love tech. And anytime something new came out that was a better mousetrap, I thought I had to just change everything I did and start using something different. The problem with that was that over time, I had all these different systems that I had started, and none of them really ended up working well, because they would, I would get so far with it, and then I wouldn't like this about it, or I wouldn't like that about it. A lot of times it was a free app, and I've come to know that you get what you pay for, and if it's free, you don't get the bells and whistles that it can probably actually help you in whatever it is they're trying to get you to know. So this is what I live by now every day. And I also use the tasks in conjunction with this. And anytime you see a little green line in here, that's a task that I have set up. And if it's something that's recurring every week, I just set it up to recur every week. And once it's completed, I just hit complete, and it puts a little line through it. So this is a typical, things are a little different now with COVID. They'll, gradually start changing back. But for the last 3 months or so, this has kind of been my schedule. My wake up routine starts at 5:30 in the morning. I guess it's good old farm boy in me from way back. But here's something to think about. If you really want success in this business, and whatever success means to you, and one of your obstacles or one of your objections is that I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to spend, my days busy, and I don't have enough time to do this. If you're committed, make that decision to get up a half an hour or an hour earlier than what you would normally get up, and start your day. And that extra half hour to an hour, you'll be surprised how much that can do for you as you move along, okay? So I get up in the morning, do my wake up routine, have a shower, then I spend about a half an hour. I got to start my day with meditation and prayer. Then I take some time to update, just make sure my calendar is all set up for the day, that I can move ahead and get going. I'll get back to this later, but I read 10 pages of a personal development book. Right now I'm reading Ray Higdon's Effective Leadership, and I spend about a half an hour on that, and then I take about a half an hour for personal business. One of the things that I do is Darren Hardy has a little thing on every morning, 5 days a week, called Darren Daily. I like it. And then 8:30 is our, for those of us that, Jay was very generous last year. Those of us that were director or higher at the time, had the luxury of having Ray Higdon come to Niagara Falls and do a day of an afternoon of training with us. And then to top it off, Jay decided to give us all 1 year membership to Rank Makers. And I can tell you, many of my teammates that are on this with me, and Terry also, and Jen, and there's a number of people that we see on there on a regular basis. But Ray really has really changed the way that a lot of us have done business, and it's taken us out of our comfort zone, but it's something that we're all working towards. 9 to 10, I do my prospecting, try to book, always trying to book Zoom appointments ahead. Today, I was 10 to 11, I was working on my presentation, doing some final touches. 11 to 12, I spent doing follow-up calls. The important thing about this stuff is, and I'm not perfect at it yet, but I'm getting better, is you got to take that time and focus, and that's it. Like, don't get any distractions. If the phone rings, guess what? Let them leave a message. If it's an important, they'll leave a message. If it's not, they'll call you back. But you need to stay focused on whatever that time frame is that you have and what you're going to do. One of my tasks around noon every day or somewhere in there, I have a little program, and I send out one card a day out of gratitude to somebody. I may have seen a post on Facebook, or see somebody that's struggling or whatever, and every day I send at least one card out that lands in that person's mailbox at some point in the next week or so. Then, for instance, today, our group, our Wellness Warriors, especially Elsa and Paula and myself, we started this group that during this kind of pandemic, that we wanted to try and provide some stuff for our team and keep everybody in touch, and just have different things that would help us cope with being isolated and trying to do business a different way, and the stresses and so on that come with that. And it's been amazing. Today we had our 26th episode. We do 2 a week, Mondays and Fridays, and we've done 26 of them now, so 13 weeks. And I can tell you, for many of us, this has been kind of a godsend. It's helped us cope with a lot of things through this time, and we want to keep it going. It may, as things get a little more towards what the new normal is, we may change a few things, but this is kind of what we've been doing. And 2 o'clock I started yesterday. I started a daily run of starting out at 5.1 kilometers, and that's and in 90 days I want to run a half marathon on the same day that basically the virtual Boston Marathon is going to be run on September 14th. 3 to 4 today I had follow-up work. 4 to 6, I just ran through some practices for my presentation tonight and tweaked it a little bit. Dinner, had to do some farm accounting for Mom on the farm, and did that. Then did one more run through the presentation, a little bit of personal time. We're on the Vox call now. And when this is over, I'll spend, I'll turn the tube on, and I'll catch up on some social media engagement, check tomorrow's calendar, make sure that things are filled in and that sort of thing. But if you have a lot of these things, if they're recurring and you can have them like set up for the same time every day, the more you do that, the easier it will come to get yourself in some good habits. Okay. So let me go back here. So Darren Hardy, like I talked about, it was funny this morning. He had this quote, and he said, you know, whatever you want to gain confidence in, go do the thing. Take action. And there's also and in truth. In other words, do the thing that you want. Stop talking about it and act on it. Zig Ziglar is another one that I like his stuff, and you know, in our business especially, this is so true. You know, he says if people like you, they'll listen to you, but if they trust you, they'll do business with you. So a lot of what we do in our prospecting and follow up is, you know, we don't get on there and try to sell people right away and you know, do our pitch. You know, it's important, I think, to build that relationship. Like, build a relationship up with these people, get to know them a little bit, they get to know you. And, you know, in time, when you ask them what they do or what they're doing or how they're finding things, you know, inevitably, you know, the question will come up the other way and they'll say, well, you know, what is it exactly that you do? And then, you know, and then you can start interacting with them and that sort of thing. You know, one of the things that Darren Hardy reminds me of is, I like the way almost every time he tells a story, and oftentimes, you know, the point he's trying to make can be found in the story. And if you, you know, he reminds me every day. He reminds me that good old adage that, you know, facts tell, but stories tell, but stories sell. So, you know, it's important that we, you know, that we all have a story, and it's important that we, you know, we use that story to our advantage to, you know, to let people, you know, it's sometimes it's a little scary, and I know in my own case, you know, when I started talking to people about my, you know, my journey through AA and alcoholism and so on, you know, it wasn't very comfortable, but, you know, your vulnerability, you know, it really reaches out to people. There's more people out there than you can imagine that identify with something that you're going through. And for them to know that they're not alone, that trust that Zig talks about, you know, starts to be born. So, where are we here? I made a few notes because I tend to sometimes go off topic. So, this is Jack Canfield, is another big giant in the MLM industry, and this is what he says: take a minute to write down what you want to get done this week. People who write down their goals and regularly review them are much more likely to actually conquer them. Okay. So here is Ray Higdon is also big on telling us to, you know, write down our goals. Now, one of the things that I learned early on with Ray that really has helped me is that Ray talks about writing down those goals, but what's important is write down your activity goals. Don't write down your results goals are, because we have no, we have no control over the results. We don't know if somebody is going to buy a product or become a customer or be interested or become an associate. We can't control those things. What we can control is the activities that we do on a daily or weekly basis. So one of the things that I do is I don't do it. I have missed a few weeks, but every now and again. But for the most part, I try to write down my activity goals every week. These are my activity goals for June 15th to 21st. And I do these, and this picture, I post it in Rank Makers. It's just, it adds some accountability to your goals. When you put them out there and, you got thousands of people that literally can see what your goals are, it just puts a little more teeth into them. So one of the things I'm going to tell you here, I used to put down the stuff on it that you want to do every day that's important to do every day. But the things that, here's a good one, like prospect 50 people this week, all right? I used to write down prospect 10 people a day. And that's okay, but the problem is if the first day, if you get sidetracked or something happens, or it takes longer than you think and you only prospect 5 people, well, guess what? Now you haven't, you committed to a goal of 10 a day, and the first day you're already behind the 8 ball. And you start getting down on yourself and you think, oh my God, and you want to throw up your arms in the air and say, what, this just isn't working. What I'm finding now is I'm saying, prospect 50 people this week. And you'll see in a minute how I break that down daily. But now if I only have 8 today, but maybe tomorrow I got 12. And I base it on 5 days, 10 a day for 5 days. But I'm doing something 7 days a week. So if I get to Saturday and Sunday and I'm at 40 and I'm 10 short, well, guess what? I got 2 days to make up that 10 people, and it's just more manageable. These change slightly depending on what I'm doing, but for the most part, if there's something special happening that week, but for the most part, they are they're pretty they're every week. They don't change a lot. One of the things that I started adding a while back that I didn't, that I think is really important, is of all of these, number 10, reward myself for the wins. We work and we work and we try things and we do things and we have a little win or something and we don't celebrate it. And you know what? Ray's a big proponent of, we have Celebration Fridays. It's like, give yourself a pat on the back, do a dance, do whatever. But, it's important that we reward ourselves when we win. So this is a good little, this is age-old sales statistics, and you know what? It still works pretty much today. And this is important for all of us to kind of get, right? 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. 25% of salespeople make a second contact and then they stop. 12% of salespeople only make 3 contacts and stop. Only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. Now, in contrast, only 2% of sales are made on the first contact. 3% are made on the second, 5% on the third, 10% on the fourth, and here, folks, 80%. And think about that. If you think about it, it still holds true. 80% of the sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. So if you stop after 2, even 1 or 2 or 3 contacts, and you say, God, this isn't working. Like, they're just, they're, I'm not going to waste my time on these people because they're not interested, and I got to move on to something else. A lot of us can tell you, I was an associate for a year before, and I signed up 2 people. And Elsa was one of them. And, we both didn't do much for a year. And then, a few things started to change and a few circumstances. And, Elsa had an injury that, put her on the couch and instead of in her business. And, she started taking the time to learn more about the product and so on. And as time went on and we were wearing the tech and it started to go, things started to happen. So, don't ever give up on your people, but find a way that, even once a quarter or something that you can just stay in touch with them. It's just important to maintain that contact. How are we doing here, Terry? All right, yeah, okay. I think I'm on track.
Yeah, we're all good. Take your time.
Okay. All right. So with all of this, tracking is important. So one of the things, like I say, I tried so many different systems, and I'm kind of getting with a system now that I'm adapting as I go, but it's really starting to work for me. And one of them is I use this 90-day activity journal, and on the side this one here, I've got April to June 2020. I started these in January, so every quarter I start a new book. I put a description on the side, and I keep these because these are little treasures for following up when you look at it. And like now, for instance, we've got the sale for Father's Day, like buy 2 get 1 free. All I got to do is go back into these books and look at who I prospected or who who I haven't talked to in a while, maybe follow up with them and see how they're doing, and just let them know that right now we've got a sale on. So this is something I do every morning. I just showed the next page for tomorrow. One thing I love about Ray's journals is the first thing I do when I sit down in the morning when I'm getting this ready is I am grateful for, and I am writing down every day whatever kind of pops into my head, whatever I'm feeling good about, whatever I feel grateful for, I write it down here. And I can't tell you, when you take a pen to paper and you write down what you're grateful for, it helps to set your tone for the day. It just gives you that boost, and it puts you in a different frame of mind. I can make any notes that I may need for that day. And then every day I write down, again, a lot of my goals are the same every day here, but this is where I break it down, where I might put, prospect 10 people a day. Because I know and if I don't make the 10 that day, I'm not beating myself up, because I know, I've set a weekly goal of 50, and, if I get 8 or 9, I just know, well, within the next few days or the weekend, I'm going to have to make up for a couple of those, I ain't perfect at it. And a lot of times I'm not making those goals, but, if you don't set them, then you got nothing to strive for. And, every week, if you find if you just find it's too much, play around with it, back it off a bit, go back to 5 or something, get to something where you can be consistent every week and feel good about it, and then start adding to it. Okay. On the other side here is where we put name, contact info, follow-up date. And what I do here is I break it down, because we do a tracker for Ray that asks us about customers and about you know, people that have joined your team. It also talks about prospecting and follow-ups. So I'll put them in here, and I'll put an F on the side if it's a follow-up, if it's somebody that I've already talked to and I'm following up. If it's a new prospect, I'm putting a P, and I'm, you know, and I'm putting them in here. Now, I'm not putting a lot of detail in here, but just enough to keep me, you know, I've got the date. So what I'm going to show you is an example of what I do when I put them on here. Where is my... Okay, so I developed a spreadsheet. This is just an example. And so I've got a prospecting list, and I think now I'm up to, I've got about 130 or some odd people in there, okay? And I've developed this, I've added columns as time goes on, but I will find, I find that I can go here, and so for instance, I put my name in here, my address, as much information as I can get, and what I don't, I leave it blank, and as time goes on, I try to fill in the blanks, okay? I've got my email address. This is my mobile phone, okay? So here I've got, you know, mobile. If they're a prospect, I put an X in here until they become either a customer or hopefully a customer. If they become a customer, I take the X out of there and I put the X here in in customer. What I'll do, I won't put the X in there. I'll put their customer number in, okay? And then if they become, along the way, if they become an associate, then I'll take their customer number out and I'll put the associate number in here. So now I know they're an associate. If I want, I always kind of put, when I first put them in here, how did I meet them? So I can kind of remember, you know, where did I meet this person? Because after a while, it's hard to remember who some of these people are. So for instance, I just said here, it was an Ontario Institute of Agrologists convention that I met them at. Connecting, how do I want to connect? They prefer me to connect by email. So I put email in. If it's message or text, I'll put that in there, okay? So date contacted, this would be the first date that I contacted them. And the beauty of this is when I go in, I can sort this by date, you know, to see when the last time is that I contacted them or whatever. But what I've done is I've put 12 columns. So this is the first contact so that I can keep track of those 12 contacts. So here we go. So here are all these contacts. When it's green, that means they became a customer. Okay, that's the date that they actually became a customer, okay? If they became an associate somewhere along the way, then that's the date that they became a customer, and I put them in red for Vox. Okay? So one of the cool things about Excel is that in here, you'll see these little tabs that I got. You can put comments in each cell. Now, if you go to the last comment, it will come up. I go here, right click, and I will go to, where am I here? New reply, okay? This will give me everything right from the first contact. So Q2, okay, is Q, column Q, line 2. All right, so here, attended a sock and sole party, bought an insole and a pair of socks, okay? R2 is the next contact. Follow up, ordered more socks. S2 is follow up, customer getting relief, plantar fasciitis. Okay, follow up, good results, tell customer to stop wearing tech next morning. This is after, and if you look at the dates, this is like 21 days after, okay? Follow up in 2 days, okay? So the next one is the follow up. Follow up, client only lasted half a day before they put tech back on. Asked if interested in the opportunity. Requested info, sent. Then follow up, set up physical appointment to go over details and answer questions. And that's the date that we set it up for. This happens to be the date that I joined. And then this will be the 7th contact. Meeting, questions answered, client signs up as associate, set date for onboarding process for the 29th. Okay, and then on the 29th, follow up, work through associate handbook and make sure new associate is subscribed to all pertinent Facebook groups. So you can put in whatever comments you want in this, but what happens is this gives you a database that you can sort any way you want as you go down the road. Okay. Let's go back to here. I think we're getting near the end. All right, so where are we? Okay, so in normal times, I do a lot of driving. So my point here is use your car as a classroom. Okay, so as of late, I haven't been driving nearly as much. But typically, I spend a lot of time in my vehicle, about 4,000 kilometers, a month on average, so 1,000 clicks per week. So you can use that time to listen to rock and roll, or you can use it to learn and move closer to that 10,000 hours it takes to become an expert. So for me, if I average 1,000 kilometers per week in, say, 5 days, that's about 2.5 hours of classroom time a day in the car. I've got one go-to. This is it. This CD set, it's a 3 CD set. I've shown the book too. Eric Worre is a giant in the network marketing profession. And basically what he does is he coaches people and shows people how to, how to be consistent, how to become what he calls a network marketing professional, right? And this is the only thing that's ever in my CD player in my car, and I just keep listening to it over and over again. I estimate that I've probably listened to this 3 CD set probably 150 times. I know it off by heart, but I keep listening to it because every time I do, I'll pick up something that I haven't done before, or that I forgot about, or I'm thinking, maybe I'm working on a case. Maybe I should try this. It's just a really, really good way to, he goes through all the steps. One of the things that always that was the biggest thing that I ever learned from Eric Worre is that he always said that the only reason to set up a meeting or an exposure is to set the next exposure. So if you're ever talking to somebody or you're meeting with somebody and before you leave or before you get off that phone call, you haven't set up the next exposure, you're missing out. The only reason you talk to people is to set up the next exposure, and so on and so forth until they become a customer, or they become an associate, or they say, I'm not interested, leave me the heck alone, and then you move on. Okay? So use your car as a classroom. I'm a big one on personal development books. And I was never a good reader. I hated reading. I'd start so many books and then give up because I just wasn't one of these people. I couldn't sit down and read through a book and I'd lose interest. And I had so many books that had bookmarks in them that I started and I'd go back and say, oh my God, I got to chapter 3, but I never went beyond that. And then a good friend of mine, gave me a little bit of a tip that I have used since. And as a result, I have read a ton of books. And all he said to me was, "Can you read 10 pages a day?" And I said, "Yeah, I think I can read 10 pages a day. That's easy enough to do." He said, "All right." So he said, "Set yourself a goal every day to read 10 pages of personal development. Doesn't matter what, but some book of personal development. And read 10 pages a day." And you know what you don't realize is that, you know what that translates to in a month? That's 300 pages. That's a 300-page book. Or it's 250-page books. The long and the short of it is you read and you get through, you learn from all these books on personal development in a way that, you don't have to sit down and read a book cover to cover. I'm not one of those people that can do that. So this one is one I just finished. This was just a whole reason I got this. I won this in a contest. And a good friend of mine, Ellen Mars, wrote a nice inscription on the front of this book and sent it to me. And it's like 3-4 pages for each one of these women with a short version of their story and how they overcame, difficulties and so on to be successful and extraordinary women. It's just an excellent read. So the other book that I always have read a number of times is Ellen Mars' book itself. And it's called Lessons from the Finish Line. And it's an amazing book. All I'll tell you is this woman in her 40s did 12 marathons in 12 months. And the last few months that she ran, she was pregnant with they adopted 4 kids. They got 7 kids, so it would have been their seventh child she was pregnant with. It's just an amazing story. Again, just very inspirational. This is the one I'm working on right now. One of Ray Hignan's books that's got all kinds of golden nuggets in it. And these books aren't meant to read once and then put on the shelf. A lot of these books, once I've read them, I'll start over and I'll read them again. This one is a gem. This one I've always kind of got on the go. Some days I just won't read from the other book and I'll just pick it up and read another 10 pages out of this one. Just an awesome book by Dale Carnegie. This was written many years ago and it's still very pertinent today. And this is the book that saves my life and has saved my life. And I read from it every day. And it's the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's my book of life lessons. It's got every answer that I need is somewhere in this book. And everything I need is in there. It helps me live one day at a time, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And really, without the AA program, my higher power, whom I call God, and the support of the fellowship and friends, and a lot of people that I've become good friends are on this call. I can assure you that I would not be here to do this presentation if it weren't for the fellowship and program of AA. So just want to finish off with a good friend of mine. When you're having a bad day and you're just, you're thinking of throwing your arms up in the air and saying, you know what, I can't do this. You finished making 15 prospect calls and you got 15 no's and you're just ready to say, the heck with this. This just doesn't work. Well, this is probably some of the wisest advice I ever got from a huge network marketer called Jordan Adler. Never quit on a bad day. live, get up, and this really helped me in my recovery from alcohol too, because I would say, when I was thinking about picking up a drink, I would say, no, you know what? I'm not going to drink today. You know what? I'll drink tomorrow. If I wake up tomorrow and I want to drink, I'll have a drink. You know what? The next morning you wake up and you're committed to do that next 24 hours, and you get through it, and you can do, that goes for no matter what you do in life. If the only way we're a failure is if we quit and we don't get up and take that next step. So remember, we always take one more step than the number of times we fall down. And thanks, everybody. Appreciate you coming on the call, and hopefully you got some value out of this.
Oh, that's amazing, Paul. I really appreciate your time tonight, and appreciate the fact that it's not easy. It's not easy to be vulnerable, and appreciate you, being vulnerable for the team here, for the field, to show people, despite all odds, despite the challenges that face all of us, and we all have our own demons and we all have our own challenges, that you can get through them and you can build something. And here you are today, 7 years of sobriety. Here you are today at managing director in this company, starting off with a product that just was to help you with bad knees, plantar fasciitis, you know what I mean? And here we are, we found a culture of love, support, sharing and caring. And that's what we promote. That's what we do here. And so, bravo to you. It was a great training that you did. Follow up is key. One of the questions that somebody said on here is, could you post a template, of that spreadsheet? I think the easiest way with Excel is to take a screenshot of it. Now, I just want to remind everybody in the field too that in the Files tab on the Team Vaccination, there are a number of follow-up sheets that are in there that are not an Excel spreadsheet that you can use and either add columns to if you're not a master in Excel. So go to the Files tab on the Team Vaccination page and scroll through, and there's different tracking sheets in there to help you with, a prospect, to help you with a follow-up with a customer, to help you with a follow-up with a team member. 3 different sheets there. So if you're not competent in Excel, which, takes a little messing around with to do, those are available for you as well. So
the one thing, Terry, the one thing we both know is that, one thing Ray Higdon always tells us is poor follow-up is way better than no follow-up.
Absolutely. No question about it. And one of the questions was, about getting this, this book at higdongroup.com/swag. So higdongroup.com/swag, SWAG. You can order this 90-day game plan. But I'm sure Paul would back me, or Paula, or Edna, or Jen, or any of the number of people that are on here, that I suggest you give Ray Higdon Rankmakers. You can go to rankmakers.com, and I suggest you try them for 30 days. It's $25 US for 30 days of training. He does a training video for free every single day at 8:30 in the morning. He also does an additional free training every Friday. He also gives you, if you fill out a tracker sheet, if you fill that tracker sheet out, regardless of whether you prospected anybody, if all your numbers are even 0, just because you filled out the tracker, he will personally email you a free training. This is all for $25, guys. Then you can decide, do I want to go farther? Do I want to buy another 30 days? Ray Higdon, really wants to see success. He's a no BS trainer. He tells you like it is. He doesn't sugarcoat stuff. I know he doesn't necessarily resonate with everybody, but the one thing that I will say about Ray Higdon, he gets you into action. And if you want to see success, you have to get into action, and don't look at the results. Look at the activity, as Paul said. Focus on your activity not on the results, because none of us know. I mean, we've all had those experiences where you talk to somebody for 1 minute and they want to buy. And then you've had somebody that you've had 9 conversations with and they're like, they still want more information. So we just never know, right? So he's a great trainer. It's very affordable. It's a write-off, and he gives you all kinds of trainings. He has a units tab in the rankmakers.com or on the Rankmakers Facebook group. He has a units tab with additional training in there. So I suggest if you're looking for good tools, this ring light that I use right here for making my face look not dark and whatever is a great product to have, because you can take it with you everywhere. It just helps you with the professionalism. And this is about being as professional as we can. And so, Paul, on behalf of the field, I really, really appreciate your efforts tonight. I appreciate everybody for showing up here tonight. It shows that you're dedicated. And you know, those back in those days in college and university, you'd never get your diploma from not showing up. You had to show up to get your diploma. So I appreciate everybody showing up. And a few announcements. There is a UK training call that we do also every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the UK team. So you're welcome to jump on that call as well. And also the UK does a Connect with the Tech call every day at 12 noon and 8 p.m. UK time. So 12 noon is probably a little tough for us to get on if we're in Central Time or Eastern Standard Time, because between the UK and Toronto, there's a 5-hour time difference. But their 8 o'clock call, you can certainly jump on at 3 p.m. And I'm going to do a little better job at posting those calls in the Team Voxxination page. So if you've got prospects, the Connect with the Tech call is what it's called, is like our prospecting call that we do every other Monday with Krista and Paul Austin. They call theirs in the UK Connect with the Tech, and it's the same meeting number every week. I'll do my best to post on that, and you can invite any of your guests to jump on that call as well. So anyways, again, congratulations to all those rank advancements that we saw just recently in the team page. Congratulations to all of you for showing up. I certainly appreciate it, and I know our guest trainer every week really appreciates the support. And if you have something to offer and want to step up the training, as always, please reach out to me. I want to edify you and build you up as a leader in our amazing journey together with VoxxLife technology. So I'm going to unmute everybody, and you can all say good night. Okay, you're all unmuted. Thank you very much, Paul. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Vox on.
Thanks again.
You too.
Awesome.
Never give up.